Next item is Views Beyond Perception by Professor Chinta Kahitti. Chinta Kahitti is one of our Bhavana supporter and also a very good friend of us. And he had been discussing Dhamma with us in so many times when he comes to Bhavana. So his views are different from us because we learn Buddhism traditionally going into Pirivanas and from our teachers. But Professor Chintaka, he's a mathematician. He teach mathematics and he has different kind of angles through quantum science and relativities. Mixing all these things, you can get a chance to listen to him and to see the Dhamma in different angles. So this is also kind of a great opportunity. So I would like to invite Professor Chinta Kahitti to start his presentation talks.
First, I want to pay homage to Most Venerable Bhante Ji and all the Venerable monks and my dear friends. Bhante already introduced me, so but my non-Sri Lankan friends call me Chin. Easy for everyone, rather than calling Chintaka. Okay, so today, first of all, I want to thank Bhante Saddhajiva for putting faith on me, which I don't have to deliver this talk, to be honest. I'm too small being when it comes to Dhamma. I mean, also, I feel little intimidated to talk after two giants in the world of Buddhism, Bhante Ji and Bhikkhu Bodhi. But I will try my best to deliver this at my best ability. I try my best. All right. So first, I am going to share my screen with you because I created this. This is obviously a lot of math and science, but don't worry. I will try to make it so even a fifth grader can understand. That is my intention, okay? That's what I try to do, to make it understandable to anybody. Now, again, as Bhikkhu Bodhi said, I did not pick this topic. This topic was picked by our most venerable Bhante Saddhajiva, okay? But I'm going to follow it strictly. Okay, so this is my intention to talk. What is Dhamma? And is there any absolute reality out there? And we will look into this, we will check this, we will examine this, investigate this in different perspectives, okay? That's what we are going to do for next 1 hour or so. Now, first of all, I mean, if you listen to Bhante Ji and Bhante, our Bhikkhu Bodhi, they brilliantly explained what Buddhism is, but I will start from the mundane way. This is how we look at the time as average human beings. We all have a past, present, and future. This is how we look into things, okay? And most of the human beings, including science, you have to admit it, believe that the world was created by a supreme being or supreme power or by Big Bang. Okay, I'm going to consider everything in the same side. And then the world is going, we are following this world. The world is actually going on, and one day this world will be destroyed. Again, so the religious believers call it doomsday, and science believe it too. And then we all think we are living right now. For an example, we all are listening to it. You are listening to me, and I was listening to the Bhantes. Now, how this is different from Buddhist view? My friends, Buddhism is completely the opposite. If you follow this timeline, we are missing the point. I don't have to explain much because Bhikkhu Bodhi explained it brilliantly. Buddhism is all about right now. It is laser focused on this present moment. Okay. Now think about any other religion, with all due respect to those religions. They either talk about past or future, how this was created or how it was from and how we are created or what is going to happen in future. By doing that, they miss the point, which is the present moment. Okay, that is probably the difference between Buddhism and any other view in this universe, probably. I would put even the universe, because that's the nature of any mind. We are focusing on past and future. We are missing the present moment. Now, make no mistake, Buddhism doesn't even discuss present moment. It is Pachupanna. We will discuss it later. Okay, Pachupanna means dependent origination, dependently co-originated. So even this present moment is like an illusion based on Buddhism. That's what we are going to discuss. All right. So, is there any absolute reality? And this is the Buddhist, obviously not the modern Buddhist, with all due respect again to the modern Buddhists. Okay, this is the Pali Canon or Tripitaka, ancient Buddhist view. So Buddhism has been. Let me add one more thing before I forget this, everyone. If you consider any other religion, the religions have been changed with the advancement of science. But whenever Buddhism has, somebody has to try Buddhism, it has not been refined, it has been distorted. If you want to understand the real Buddhism, you need to read or refer Buddha's words, ancient Buddhism. So whenever somebody changes it, they screwed up. Okay, so we are going to discuss, our discussion will be based on Pali Tripitaka or Pali Canon, because that's where the pure Buddhism is, where it is. Okay, now, I heard Bhante mention Dhamma. What is Dhamma? Okay, Dhamma is nothing but the reality as it is. Now, I was trying to explain this. I don't have to, thanks to our Bhante Bhikkhu Bodhi. He explained what Sabbe Dhamma Anicca, Sabbe Dhamma Sankara, Sabbe Dhamma Dukkha. Okay, so I don't know, he read my mind, but he explained it brilliantly. So I will just skip it. So we know what it is. The reality is Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta. What we call Trilakkhana or three signs of existence. Now, I added this right here, not to intimidate anybody. Panyavantasayan Dhammo, Nayan Dhammo, Duppanyassa. My friends, Buddhism is very difficult to comprehend. Even Buddha was a little hesitant at the beginning after he attained the Buddhahood to deliver the Dhamma. Why? This Dhamma is for wise ones, not for the fools who are ignorant. This is Buddha's own words in Anuruddha Sutta. Okay, these are actually Anuruddha Vitakka Sutta. Now, until we see this, we are just like this. You know who I'm pointing to. Okay, so we all are like that. Okay, let's try to analyze what this world is. Remember, we think we are living on a world, right? The reality. Now, Buddha asked this question from the monks. He asked bhikkhus, what is all? You see, no one tried to answer Buddha's questions, and they always let Buddha talk. And then Buddha explained simply the eye and forms, ear and sounds, nose and odors, tongue and taste, body and tactile sensations, mind and mental objects. Monks, this is called all. Now, what is this all? What you call the universe. Nothing else, nothing less than that. Okay, this universe is our five senses. Now, Buddha delivered this different ways. Sometimes he called it Loka Sutta. Loka is those six senses. There are few suttas, it's no more than few, which explain this way. And he further said, Buddha further said that repudiating this all, if somebody say, I know something more than this, six senses, Buddha said, monks, that is complete, obviously in our words, complete garbage, trash talk, because it is beyond someone's reach. Because if someone think or say, you know something, anything beyond your six senses, that is completely fabricated. It is not real. And why it is the case? Now, actually, as a professor, I always ask this question for my students. Sometimes I don't teach Buddhism to them, but when I ask a mathematician, sometimes I teach them a little bit of reality too. I ask them, do you know anything which you did not collect any information, either via your eyes, ears, nose, taste, or body feeling or by thinking about it. My friends, we think we understand this world. Do you know that we humans have not explored more than 65% of our own Earth? We have no damn idea, I'm sorry to use that word, about this own world. We know more about our obviously known universe than our world. If someone thinks you understand the world, obviously it's kind of daydreaming. It's not real. Okay, now let's move one more step further. Look at this. I want you to see a little further than that. This is obviously very modern science, almost based on quantum theory as well. Now, if you consider the universe, 59% of the universe is made of dark energy. 26% of this universe is made of dark matter. That is, when combined, 95% of this universe, okay, is unknown to us. Then how much we know? I have put 5%, it is less than 5%. Everything we know as it is, okay, including those like gamma rays, X-rays type of things, is part of this 5%. So when we have no idea, now one more thing, this 5% could very well be the statistical error. That's exactly what I'm going to prove to you pretty soon. Okay, now I put a little picture next to it. That's a night sky. Okay, if you look at the night sky, I don't think in our area, in the DC area, this sky is light polluted. If you are living in West Virginia or rural area, you can see very beautiful night sky. You see a lot of dark spots. Do you know that all dark spots you see are completely filled with stars and other matters? We don't even know. Now, plus, now I bet you are thinking of the night sky. Look your surrounding right now. My friends, we are part of the universe. We are part of the universe. If you can see and comprehend 5% of the universe, do you think you are seeing your surrounding right now as it is? Let me give you a simple example. There is Wi-Fi running around you right now. That's how probably you are connected to me. Do you see Wi-Fi? Do you see all the clouds, iClouds, Apple clouds, those kind of clouds around you? You can see probably. We are living in that generation, we can understand it more than the people who lived before us. Okay, so don't think what we see is what real. Okay, so now, hopefully you understand that even our surrounding is a creation of our own mind, or our own senses. Now, out of these senses, about 30% of the information coming via our eyes. Okay, 30%, so more than that. Okay, let's move on. Now, I'm not going to explain too much of this, obviously, because we all know this very well. But what I'm going to prove to you that this is wrong. This is a classical science, Newtonian science, what we call traditional science. I'm not going to explain because to save my time. We know how we see things. That's how we learn, right? When you see an object, when you capture an object, it comes via the lens. It falls into the retina, the sensitive area. It transfers to your brain via the optic nerve. Then you identify the picture. And I want to add two things though. Whatever you see is upside down. Your brain has a capacity, your mind, obviously, I will use the brain temporarily, capacity to make it right. Plus, it takes about 30 milliseconds. It's very fast. This process is very fast. Okay. Now, do we see the reality? The question is, who see the reality? This is obviously, I put this picture because we all have this experience. When you wear polarized sunglasses, obviously we see things clearly, right? So which view is right? What you see from your naked eyes or what you see from the polarized glasses? Can you say? Usually we tend to believe our own eyes. You can see when you have polarized glasses, you see things clearly. Plus, this is different color blindnesses, okay? People with different capacities, with different abilities of the eye see things differently. Now, let me add one more thing, which I usually tell to my students again. Let's look at this color red. How do you know whether the red color you see is the same red color I see? And how do you know this is red? When you are very small, like a toddler, your mom or dad showed this color to you and he or she told you, my son or my daughter, this is red. From that day, when you see this color, you call it red. But make no mistake, we all have human eyes, certain capacities. We may see something similar, but don't think we see the same color. That is not true, okay? Again, because we don't know. It's not complete, I can put the mention about this too. I don't think these are my words in some sense. All right, then, now why we have this situation? Why don't we see everything? That is actually very important to understand in scientific perspective. This is the electromagnetic spectrum, okay? Now, you may think that this is a small spectrum. My friends, this n is 10 to the negative 5 nanometers. Nano is 1 divided by 1 billion. So if you divide 1 by 1 and 14 zeros, that's where this is. This is a kilometer. 10 to the third is kilometer. So this is very long. On this very long electromagnetic spectrum, we see a tiny bit of it, what we call the visible light or visible spectrum. See even the distance or length of this is in nanometers. So if somebody thinks you can see the world just being capable of seeing these 7 colors, what do you think now? Is that smart way of handling things? Think about it. No, we have probably some of the weakest eye formations in the universe, probably, we humans. What we have is our brain, okay, compared to some other animals. That's where we are advanced. And we are high, we have very high ego as human beings. We think we are superior to anybody. No, that's absolutely correct. We'll show you. Look at this. These are view of the same colors under different spectrum, different areas of the spectrum. That's visible light, what you and me see on both. Okay, that's actually Rudbeckia and orchid. This is what we see under UV light without any kind of simulations or any, just a picture taken. And this is how the bees and butterflies see. Obviously, you see 3 different colors and obviously you see the same shape. That's the perception. But color and everything else is changed, right? The question is who see the reality? Is B see the reality or you see the reality? Have you ever thought about it? Let me make you a little kind of, let me probably feel you bad. Look at these, my friends. These pictures were taken under UV, glowing UV light. Actually, I want to say this is a real picture. Okay, under UV, red is not visible. That's the UV color. This is a real flower. Same here, real flower, UV, real and UV. But the ones around this, the middle area, we go back, these are under UV lights. Now, do you think we are lucky to have these human eyes? Now, I bet I don't have any wonder why butterflies and bees love flowers. Okay, if we have these kind of view of eyes, we would have been stick to those flowers too, right? It's almost divine. So that is the view under UV light. Again, the question, which is real? To see the reality. All right. Now, forget about everything. I bet some of you think, okay, at least, yes, I can see what I cannot see. At least I see what I see, right? You think what you see is real. The question is too fast. You are still wrong. You are still wrong. What you see is not even what real. You want a proof? Look at this picture. How many colors you see? I bet you see 2 colors, right? Gray and white. You know what I want to do? Pick your fingers. I mean, if you're far away or if you're close by, just cover this area. Just cover this area and see what happens. What you see now? Both are same color. Do you see that? Okay, if you don't have capacity to do that, don't worry, I made it for you. Let me remove this thing. Okay, look at this one. When you block this area, you begin to see that this is the same color, gray. My friends, I told you so now. Can you still identify both as gray. See how poor our vision is and how poor we are as human beings. No, you still can do it. Okay, you know the reason? Your mind, or let's call it brain for the moment, your brain does not allow you to do that. Why? Because of your past experience. The trick is right here. This area is dark, this area is pure white, right? This is the illusion. Because of this, that's our past experience. We think there is a shadow here, it blocks. So the reality is the same color, but you don't see it. That's what we call shadow illusion. Now look at this one. This is what we call perspective illusion. You see two tables, one set vertically, other one is horizontally. Which one looks longer? And at the same time, you see three gentlemen here. Which gentleman look taller? Obviously, the one way back, right? And this obviously looks longer. This table looks longer than that. But if I tell you that these two gentlemen are exactly the same height and this is exactly the same table, just rotated 90 degrees, will you agree with me? Will you believe me? Let me prove to you. Look at this. That's the same size. If you want, you can measure the other side too. Even this one, look at the difference between here and here. That is the same width. That's what we call perspective illusion. Okay, here's our eyes deceives us. On top of that, plus, let me add one more observation to this. Look at this very carefully. This side looks longer than this side, right? Just like this gentleman is taller than this gentleman. And the question is why this happens? And how do you see this? What is this? What's the reason for this? Now, let me go one more step backward and show you something. Even if I said so, can you still believe that this is the same table? I told you it's the same. No, you still can do it. Now, I hope if my friends from today on, you will not believe your eyes, at least. So that's a good thing. Now, why we have this issue? Because of this, our previous experience. We know that whenever you drive, whenever you look further the object, it looks very small, right? You have this experience probably throughout your life. When you drive, you always see, you always know, you don't see a road at the end. But have you ever wondered or confused about it? No, you know that when you drive closer, you see the same road. That is how our brain is trained. So our brain thinks whatever is supposed to be furthest is supposed to be smaller. Okay, that's the process. Again, I'm using the wrong word. It's not the brain, it's our mind. Mind is the master. Because I hope everyone follow Buddhism. Okay, that's an average mindset, mundane mind view, brain thing. Buddhism is much advanced than brain discussions. Okay, that is the reason for this confusion. Okay, now look at this. Actually, I think I have to go a little faster. Now, there are a lot more interesting things coming in future. Okay, look at this one. I hope you see dark brown color and very bright yellow color. If I told you that that's the same brown, will you believe that's the same brown color? I'm going to look at this. Okay. Not only that, now look at this. Some of you may be seeing that these are gray, right? That is not gray. That is yellow. And I'm going to move on, okay? So don't think these colors as you see. It is as if you see, especially these two. It is not. So now, can you say what you see is real? Now, I'm going to start, I'm going to run this video from here because I'm going to show you one more interesting thing. Okay. Now, this is what I want you to do. When this gentleman, that he's a neuroscientist, very famous gentleman, a scientist, when he starts spinning this little frame, you start blinking your eyes very fast. Okay, keep blinking your eyes. okay, and see what happens. I'm going to run this, okay? Let me start the sound, so can you can hear it. Okay. Now let me open.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it here and I'm going to spin it. And for all of you, you'll see it probably spinning this direction. Now I want you to keep looking at it, move your eyes around, blink, maybe close one eye, and suddenly it'll flip and start spinning the opposite direction. Yes? Raise your hand if you got that. Yes? Keep blinking. Every time you blink, it'll switch. Right? So I can ask you, which direction is it rotating? How do you know? Your brain doesn't know because both are equally likely. So depending on where it looks, it flips between the two possibilities.
All right. So
notice you see a...
Now, go back. Okay. So what did you learn from it? That's what matters here. Okay. My friends, we think what we see is actually what we see, right? But based on this, you see, when you start blinking, okay, the picture, stand by it, like when you start blinking, okay, the rotation changes. Notice it. Whenever you, okay, you see something else. So what happened? What really happened there? Why you see that way? That's a $1 million question. Because our brain cannot identify even the direction or what we see. So, okay, so it considers a probability. That is the word I want you to remember, probability. Okay, what your brain understands is a probability. All right, so let me go on. Now look at this one. This is another important one, okay, what we call time illusion. It's a very famous one. And please pay attention to this guy too. He's a very famous, hopefully I hope some of you love him. I love him too. Dr. Tyson, okay, what he said about what we see. Okay, but this is an important one. I'm going to run this completely for a reason, okay? Now, I want you to pay attention, pause it for a minute, okay? Please focus on this X in the middle, okay? Then see what happens. You should see a green circle rotating. Do you see that? If you are very focused, if you have 100% focused, not only you are going to see a blinking green circle, you will realize that all the purple circles simply disappears. It disappears. You start seeing only a green circle. Okay, what is happening? Now, this is obviously available online. Most of the people who interpret this says it happened because one of the purple circles is blinking. That is not the case. Okay, if you dig deeper, you will see that what really happens is these are different frames. Look at this. These are different frames. There is no even blinking purple circle here. Okay, and because of the speed, it happened because of speed, time. That's what we call time illusion. Time is the biggest culprit. Again, time is a concept based on Buddhism. We will get there. Because of very fast moving, we not only seeing blinking circles, okay, you start seeing a green circle. That green circle is the phase 7. Actually, it appears here. Wherever a circle is missing, you see a green circle. Okay, eventually, because of the speed, all the purple circles disappear. You start seeing just the green circle. Now, Buddha mentioned this as a metaphor. Again, guys, you don't need to look at science. Buddha mentioned all of these 2,600 years ago. Okay, I know sometimes I saw when I read things online, some people try to say Buddhism was changed based on science. That is complete trash talk. If you check pure Tripitaka Dhamma, Pali Canon, you saw those things written thousands of years ago before science. So Buddhism doesn't need science help at all. Period. Okay, so why this happened? Now I want to add one more thing to this. My friends, this is exactly how we feel the feeling of selfness. Remember Bhante Ji and Bhante Bhikkhu Bodhi mentioned about the self, the anatta, atta, right? This is exactly how we feel yourself too, because of the speed of your mind. Okay, just like you see this green circle. Okay, I'm going to move on because of the time. Now, my friends, please pay attention to this. This is how we see at the quantum level. To be honest, I don't understand much quantum. If someone say they understand, they are lying. Quantum theory is obviously ridiculously difficult. Plus, okay, plus it is obviously there is no way of connecting quantum theory to the other sciences. But if you dig deeper into Buddhism, I bet you, I challenge you, there is an answer to even this. Now, let me go to the link directly so I can show you the direct link. Okay, so stand by. Now, first of all, I hope you can see my screen and I hope you can hear. If not, please, Brian, please let me know. Okay, I'm going to run this. Give me 1 second.
And that's where we're headed next.
But everyone, please pay attention, okay?
We are made of atoms. The bizarre quantum universe is inside us, tugged on by undiscovered moons, performing its impossible magic on every level of life and experience. What is this? A smattering of stars or something else? We are sending an image made of light to your eyes. It's arriving at your retina at this very moment. The cells in your retina are changing chemically right now because we are stimulating some of them with photons. Your retina stores these changes for a fraction of a second. Now, it's erasing them in readiness for the next barrage of photons. Your retina doesn't detect all of them. It can't. It picks up on only a small percentage of photons that come your way. It's impossible to predict which particular cell in your retina will catch a photon, even when it comes to something as vital as our vision. All we have is our probabilities. Now, we're shooting many more photons at you, more like 500,000. What are you looking at? The surface of some planet orbiting another star? We need still more of those photons to know for sure. Say a couple of million or more. Only when we send all of those photons your way, tens of millions of them, does reality begin to take shape. Over time, probabilities become likelihoods, and eventually, likelihoods become certainties. But is there really any such thing as certainty? If everything, even our own vision, is governed by probabilities, can there be any absolute reality?
All right. So I hope it kind of made you a little more interested, but I bet some of you feel it's ridiculous, right? What you saw. But do you know this matches with the dependent origination? So let me stand by. I think I have to share my screen again. All right. So do you know this matches dependent origination? And why I said that? My friends, give me 1 second. Okay, so. Okay. No, it's better. Give me 1 second, okay? So I have some issue with, okay, I see it now. Now, this is what we see, right? If you go to a kitchen this evening, if you order a pizza, whenever you go there, this is what you see. Now, I don't have to prove you much because I already proved you step by step that what you see is not what's real. This is way beyond our comprehension. I think beyond our pay grade as average human beings, lay people. At least I think probably like Banteji and the most venerable monks understand this better than us. So what happens here? How do you, this is where quantum theory clashes with all other sciences, especially relativity. Remember, there was a big debate between Einstein and Niels Bohr. These are the two giants in science world about the situation. Okay, Einstein even did not want to, I'm going to prove with you. Einstein accepted that what we see is an illusion, but he could not understand what the quantum theory said, because quantum theory is about subatomic level, relativity is about what we see, right? The macro level. Okay. Now, this is what you think you see, but this is what we really see. Now, make no mistake, you may be thinking that everything comes from outside, because that's the way this gentleman, this is obviously the program Cosmos on Disney, okay, done by National Geographic. You can watch it. It's very interesting. This is, I think, episode 9, if I'm right. Okay. So this gentleman say everything comes from out. He said he's shooting. No, nobody's shooting this to us. It is done by our mind. Now, what does this mean? Let me go to the next one.
We are made.
Okay. So this is how Buddhism explains things. Okay. This is called Sansara Vatta, Nama Rupa Vijnana cycle. Nama Rupa means mentality and materiality. Vijnana means consciousness. Again, I'm not going to describe this because Bhante Ji and Bhante Bhikkhu Bodhi did a brilliant job. I don't think I can ever match them, to be honest. Okay. But I am going to talk about the science side of this. Now, this Sansara Vatta, or this Nama Rupa Vijnana cycle, okay, is what is based on, again, this might sound like Abhidhamma. I have to admit that, everyone. To be honest, I was not an enthusiastic fan of Abhidhamma for a very long time. To be honest, I did not even care about it. I have to admit it. But when I realized the quantum theory, I understood quantum theory thanks to Buddhism, okay, not because of science. But when somebody tries to understand quantum theory without Buddhism, it sounds ridiculous. Okay, but when you dig deeper into Buddhism, you see the end of the tunnel, sunset. Now, speed of mind is what we call Chittakshana or Dhamma in Buddhism. Okay, and how do you understand what this Chittakshana means? I mean, there are certain parts in Abhidhamma, as I heard, but to be honest, I have not read Abhidhamma much. But I read Milinda Panya. Milinda Panya means the Milinda Panha, or Questions of Milinda. This is a true situation happened about 500 years after Buddha's Parinibbana, okay, between Arhat Nagasena and Indo-Greek king Menander I. This king was born in Alexandria. Anyway, so in this discussion, it's a very long and interesting book. When I underestimated that text for a while. Okay, this Arhat Nagasena explained the speed of mind using a metaphor. He make it to Chittakshana to uncountable number of grains in a very large pot. Think about tiny little grains, like rice grains on a big pot. That is how much Chittakshana happened in every moment. Moment means actually like a second. In other words, this is how the quantum mechanics explain it. That's what we call the energy cycle or photon cycle. That's what we call Planck time, which is 10 to the power negative 43 seconds. If you divide the second by 10 and 43 zeros, that's how fast this happens. That's what we call Chittakshana. And why I think this is this energy cycle matches our consciousness for this cycle, because even Buddha mentioned about this a few times. Okay, for an example, we know if you are doing kind of a reasonable amount of meditation, right? After a while, you start seeing white light. I bet most of you might have experienced that, the white light. And also, I mean, our Bhikkhu Bodhi mentioned about higher realms or higher worlds, like deities, devas, like Brahma. Okay, they don't use, obviously, they are living under in our solar system too. According to Buddhism, there are 31 levels. They are at the highest levels. They don't use the light of the sun. They use their own light, their own body, emit light. And also there is a story about Anathapindika. When he heard about the Buddha is born, he could not even sleep. He got so mindful and he started seeing light, it's called Alokasanya, light signals. Okay, so he thought it is the daytime. He started walking. He went to see Buddha at night. He was not even Sotapanna, the extreme emperor at that time. And also Buddha mentioned this Pavassara Midang Bhikkave Chittam Okay, I'm not going to explain the Pali part. It's called luminous monks is the mind, and it is defiled by incoming defilements. Yes, we ruin our mind. Other than that, it is very luminous. Okay, now let me go back and explain this very briefly. I don't think most people will understand, but I think it is important for some people. My friends, this is obviously my thinking. I mean, there are people who are better than me to understand this, like Bantiji here. Okay, so this is obviously the photon level, what we saw. Okay, now you can see it kind of getting more crowded here because obviously this is science, my friends. Okay, science think everything stick there. But remember, when it comes to Buddhism, everything is based on our mind. Okay, it ceases and arises and ceases, right? Arises, ceases. Upado panyayati, vayo panyayati. In Pali, it appears and disappears. That's the way of mind works. And itasa anyatattam panyayati, it changes something else. Okay, now don't think it stick like that until you see the pizza. This appears, this frame appears and disappears. And then comes this, then comes this. Okay, these are different photon packets, okay, captured by your mind, not your brain. Make no mistake, brain has nothing to do with this level. Okay, your brain is kind of toy, soft toy when it comes to this. Your mind, the powerful one, the magician. Okay, and records. So this is the Nama Rupa Vijnana cycle, that subtle level, Dhamma level. Okay, now make no mistake, it doesn't take 5 minutes to do that. It takes a couple of nanoseconds. I showed you the speed of our mind. 10 to the power negative 43 seconds is, if you divide a second by 1 and 43 zeros, can you even imagine it? That's how fast this happens. Now, don't think only these pictures come to your mind. Whenever one is detected, next, your mind comes and records it. It's a process. It's a cycle. Namarupa paccaya vijnana, vijnana paccaya namarupa. What we call vijnana namarupa cycle. Materiality and mentality and consciousness cycle. I hope most of you are familiar with dependent origination. Okay, the cycle. Paticcasamuppada. Okay, anyway, so while this happens, that is what we eventually see as the picture. Now, one more thing before I move on. Now, I hope even quantum theory and scientists explain this as what? As a probability. Your eye cannot capture every photon come to your way. It is certain probability. How this probability explained in Buddhism? I think Buddhism has a better explanation than probability. What is it? Kamma, eye. What we call your eye is nayam bhikkave kayo tumhakam napi anye sam purana vidam bhikkave kamma. Your body is all 6 senses, is what we call Purana Kamma. Purana Kamma is your, I don't know, I'm sorry to say that, I'm not very familiar with English words, Buddhist English words, okay? Purana Kamma means previous Kamma. Okay, you have human eye, it has a certain capacity, okay? You capture the information based on that capacity, that's all. My friends, we have the answer to that illusion too, which we discussed so far. Why we see an illusion? It is all your eye can capture, not the reality. And don't think it comes from out there. There is nothing out there. Yes, what there out there is what we call 4 elements, Mahabhuta. Okay, so this is the information we get via our mind. Okay, let me move on. We have a lot of things to discuss. Now, let me explain this. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. This is obviously electromagnetic field. Electromagnetic field is what we call the light field or photon. Okay, electromagnetic field or photon doesn't need any medium. It can last forever if conditions are correct. Now, this has the same properties of our Nama Rupa Vijnana cycle. Nama Rupa means material and mentality. Vijnana means consciousness. This is the Vijnana, consciousness. That is the Nama Rupa, that's the magnetic field and electric field. They are, when the Nama Rupa arises, Vijnana ceases. When Vijnana arises, Nama Rupa ceases. You know that. As far as you are in the spell of ignorance and training, samsara follows, right? It is just like this. Again, I don't want to even go there because of time. And now, let's move on. Now, I mentioned about the eye. How about the other senses? Actually, other senses are poorer, worse than eye. Same scenario apply for other senses too. Okay. Now, I'm going to go a little faster now because of time. Now, this don't trust my words. These are famous scientists. See what he said about the real world. He said reality is merely an illusion, but he believed it is a persistent one, although it's a persistent one. Okay? He thought it's an illusion, but it is there, out there. That's how quantum relativity is described. Now, this is the other giant, Niels Bohr, father of quantum theory, okay, quantum theory scientist. He said everything we call real is made of things that cannot be regarded as real. That's what I showed you, quantum level. He said, look at this. If quantum mechanics hasn't shocked you, you have not understood it. That's true. Now, let's get to this real point. What Buddha said. I don't care, to be honest, guys. Science is not capable of understanding or explaining this. This is Buddha's words. It's the Dvaitanupassana Sutta. Anattani attamani passalokam sadevakam nivittam nama rupasmi idam satchati manyati yena yenehi manyati tatotam hochi anyata. Entrenched in materiality and mentality, nama rupa, they conceive, the people, Buddha said, look at the world with devas, all the worlds, everybody in the universe. They are conceiving not self to be self. They call anatta as atta. They think there is a self. Okay? Entrenched by nama rupa, they conceive that it is true. In whatever terms they conceive it, so whatever you conceive, it turns into something else. It changes. Okay? So changing is it's deceptive by the nature. It's changing is the reality. Nothing is permanent. Okay. Now, this is one more. Actually, I want to explain this one too because of this delusion thing. Because some people I saw online, that's why I put this one too. I saw some people have written that Buddhism was changed for illusion. The idea of illusion came to Buddhism because of science. My friends, that is complete trash or garbage, trash. Why? You see, 26,000 years old, 2,600 years old. This is the Udena Sutta, one of the Udana in Pali Tripitaka. Nobody changed Tripitaka. Okay? The world in bondage to delusion is looked on as being beautiful and it appears as real. The fool, bound to his elusive acquisition surrounded by darkness, assumes it as eternal, it as real. But there is nothing to hold to the person who sees it. If you see this reality, you don't have anything to hold into. What is you have hold into that quantum level? Think about it. There's nothing. What you see is that quantum level photon. But what you see, what you think you see is a pizza. You see where the illusion happens? So if you are going behind the mirage, an illusion as a pizza, right? What is the end outcome? Suffering. So this is Buddha's own words. Okay, so we don't need scientist explanations because Buddha said everything very clearly. Now, if you pause a tiny bit right here, think about everything you have experienced in past, including what you experienced since the beginning of this talk. I bet most of you at least now start thinking, yes, it's an illusion, right? How about everything you heard and experienced during this discussion, this talk? Do you know that it's an illusion too? I bet I'm probably spinning a couple of heads right now, minds right now. Yes, it is an illusion too. Now, this is what we are going to explain next. How this illusion happened. Can I prove what you see so far, what you heard from your very own eyes is an illusion? Yes, it is. Okay. Now, this is probably little higher level mathematics, but I will try to make it simple as I told you, but I hope you will stay with me. Okay, we'll see. Now, my friends, this is the view from different dimensions. This is actually highly mathematical. Okay, don't worry, I will try to make it very simple so everyone can understand. If you don't understand it math. Okay, so we all have learned number line in your school time, right? I bet you have learned number line, like, you know, you put 0 here, +1, -1, and so on, right? You learned from your elementary school teacher or middle school teacher explained this to you long time ago. Then we locate the points, right? That's what we call number line. Now, most people learn, and this is what we call the Cartesian plane, x-axis and y-axis. You all have learned this in school, but I bet most of you had no idea what you were doing. You just drew diagrams and pictures and curves, right? That's all you did. But do you know that what you try to understand is the reality? And what it is? What is it? The number line is what we call the first dimension. Okay? If there is a being in this world, this person can only see points. This person cannot see anything other than points. Why? If you draw a line, if you have a line, only shape you can draw on a line is a point, right? That's all you can do. Only thing you can draw on a line is a point. So point has no size or shape. That's what we call zero dimension. Okay? So one-dimensional view is zero dimension, one dimension less. Now, this is the view. I'm going to the next one now. In two-dimensional view, that's what the scientific community call them flatlanders. It's hypothetical. No one can live in this world. So, hypothesis, okay? This world is called flatlanders because everything in this world, if there is a word like that, is flat. It's just a plane. Think about a paper, just like this. If you show it like that, okay? The surface. That's what you call paper, okay? So, to this surface. In this world, everything has only length and width because it doesn't have height. Think about a piece of paper. It doesn't have any height, right? It has only length and width. So everything is based on length and width. So everything in this world is a 2D world, is flat. And these people can move just forward, backwards, and to the two sides. But there is no up and down. Plus, in this world, everything they see, I mean, one more thing, don't think this gentleman or lady can see this rectangle as we see. We are living in a different dimension. We are here. We are outside. We are here, outside. So we can see this as it is. But this person can only see a side of it. This person sees this side. And this person sees just the diameter, okay? Just two lines. That's what this is. Everything in 2D world is 1D. 1D is single dimension, one dimension less, just like 1D is 0, 2D is 1. One dimensional being sees 0 dimensions, two-dimensional being sees 1 dimension. For an example, look at these two shapes. We see a square and a circle, right? But this being cannot see circle or square. What this person sees is two lines, just like that. But does this person see a difference? Absolutely. Remember, we saw the shadow illusion. This person sees a shadow illusion too. Look at the shadow. Based on different shadows, this person can think these are different shapes. Okay? So I'm going to leave it there, not to make anybody confused. Okay. Now, this is the 3D world. 3D world is our world. My friends, we are living in the 3D world. What 3D is? It has the length, width, and height. Okay? So remember previously we saw X and Y axis. We see one more axis. 3 dimension is 3 lines, real lines. Now, just like 2D world, so 1 dimension, right? In mathematics and science, 3D world can see only 2D. If you are living in the 3-dimensional world, you can never ever see 3-dimensional shapes. What you see is 2D. What is 2D means? Frames, pictures. That's all you can see. I bet you don't even trust me right now. You think, then how the heck I am seeing everything outside of me? I understand what you think, okay? But that is again your mind, my friends, not your eyes. I'm talking about what you can view, okay? What your eyes can capture, capable of capturing is 2D, 2-dimensional. Then how do you see 3D? It happened because of so many gimmicks done by your mind, the vinyana, the magician, okay? It's called stereo vision. Remember, we have two eyes. The two eyes capture two-dimensional frames. Then it overlaps. It creates a stereo vision, light and shade, and so many other things. But the most importantly, the time. Time is the most important of all here. Remember that lilac chaser, the purple circles created that green light, green circle, the same thing. Now, how Buddha explain this phenomenon? Again, it belongs to science and mathematics, as most modern science and mathematicians think these, most modern scientists and mathematicians think these belong to them. Again, they are absolutely wrong. See how Buddha explained this. Look at this. Why Buddha? No wonder Buddha is the wisest one, awakened one. See what Buddha explained. Nete kama yani chitrani loke sankapparago purisassa kamo tittanti chitrani tateva loke. My friends, I have to say something. If you read any English or even Sinhala or any other translation of this Tripitaka, Pali Canon, you usually see beautiful pictures or beauties. Why? Obviously, most of these translators are not understand, they don't understand math or science, right? That's normal. Okay. Now, but if somebody say, no, it cannot be 2D frames, it is just beautiful sensual pleasures, you are obviously insulting the wisdom of or the intelligence of Buddha. I don't think Buddha just did not understand 2D frames. If science can understand, Buddha should have understood it 1,000 times better. No question about it. Okay, so I kept this because I highlighted it in red, but I believe these 2D frames. Remember 2D frames, I highlighted this 3D frames, pressure, what you hang on the walls. Okay, so passion is, okay, or karma is passion, our passion is what is, passion is not the sensuality, what you see or you feel, it is your what? Passion is sankappa, your thoughts, concepts, thoughts. Okay, sankappa is the karma, what really there is chitra, 2D frame. Okay, now I'm going to move forward. I will discuss this very briefly to save my time for the rest of the discussion. Okay, now look at this picture. Now, this is the level of pizza. My friends, that's what we call passa, contact. Okay, that's the contact level. So whenever you see this picture, without even thinking on what comes to your mind immediately, you just see a picture, right? That is a 2D frame level. But your mind does not stop there, right? After that, your mind starts analyzing it. Now, people who understand colors, see different colors, okay? Who is familiar with this street view, this is probably New York, their previous experiences, if they have visited, comes to their mind. Now think about the person who does not understand English. He or she doesn't have any idea what it is. But for you and me, we know that's a coffee shop. I bet some of you need a coffee right now. See, Sankaparago Purisasa Kama. That's Kama. It is not in the picture. Where it came from your Sankappa, your mind. Okay, concepts. And plus, if somebody now, I want to see the same picture bring happy feelings as well as the other side. It's not hateful, but whatever it's called, okay? Sorry about the vocabulary about Buddhism. Anyway, so somebody who loves city life may be thinking of missing it. Obviously, we are living under pandemic. Somebody desperately want to go there. But people like me who like quiet areas may not like this when you see it, right? We may be liking somewhere like West Virginia who want to live quiet life. Okay, so see, different concepts, different feelings come just by looking at the same picture. Sankapparago Purisassa Kama. I just this 2D frame. Now, I think let me explain this very fast to move into the more important discussion. Now, look at two people. This is a flatlander living in 2D frame. That is you and me. I want you to show this for a reason, my friends. Okay. Now, if you give enough papers to stack on this table, let's assume that this is the size of a paper, like A4 paper, okay? This flatlander can just lay or place 4 papers. That's all space this person has. Now, make no mistake, the flatlander is on this table too, right there, okay? The flatlander can place only 4. How many papers you can place there? You can place thousands, hundreds and thousands. Why? Because you can stack it, right? You have the third dimension. If you talk to this flatlander and tell that flatlander that I place thousands, hundreds of thousands of paper, will this person believe it? Absolutely not. Why? Because this person cannot see it. It is beyond his perception. You see? So sometimes we argue the same silly way, right? We try to argue that everything what we see is real. We don't want to trust anything else. You can see, my friends, we are very poor beings. We only know 3 dimensions. There are more out there, even based on science. Okay? So this flatlander, just like us, doesn't trust anything beyond our eyes. Now, I'm going to show one more thing because this is important too. This is how a 4-dimensional being seen by us. Just like the flatlander, we have no idea about what the 4th dimension is. 4th dimension is something perpendicular to our world. Okay? Now, I'm going to move this forward a little bit. If somebody go to the 4th dimension, how we see this? Look at this. He simply disappears. Haven't you, if you have read Tripitaka, Kali Canon, haven't you seen these kind of stories? The deities come to in front of the people, then disappears. Okay, you can see what happened. They don't disappear, they don't go anywhere. They just disappear because they go to their dimensions, just beyond our dimensions. All right, now let's move on. This is important. This is the end of my discussion, obviously. The last part, probably the most important part of all discussion so far. Now, this is Einstein's relativity, space-time continuum, as Einstein described. My friends, Albert Einstein saw the world as past, present, and future too. But it is not the mundane view, it was a refined view. Okay. Now, what is this cone as you know here? Remember, based on relativity, obviously quantum theory negates it. Relativity says that no one cannot reach or go beyond speed of light. But it is not the truth when it comes to quantum theory, because when you consider like quantum entanglement, it happens faster than speed of light. Or think about even Buddhism. Buddha and other Arhat monks moved between different worlds within nanoseconds, right? They are in Sutta. So cannot reach speed of light is not very realistic when it comes to Dhamma or our Tripitaka. Anyway, let's forget about that part. But there is a very validity here. Now look how Einstein explained this scenario. These are 2 different people at the same time. Now look at these kind of rectangular shapes. What are these? These are 2 different planes. 2 different planes. Why? Remember, that is what we call space. We are 3-dimensional beings. In 3 dimensions, we always experience 2 dimensions, right? That's why Einstein explained everything based on planes, 2 dimensions. So that is you. And this is me. Now, what is this little line? Einstein called it spaghetti of time. What is this? That is the time. Let's say this is from the beginning of the day. You had your own time schedule. You woke up, probably did something, and right now you are here. And this is my timeline. I had my own timeline too. Okay, right now we have met at the same time. This is me, that is you. That's how we met. For an example, if you want to meet your friend tomorrow at the mall, can you just phone your friend and say, hey, meet me at the mall tomorrow? It doesn't work that way. Why? Because you may go to the mall in the morning, your friend may go in the evening, right? You don't meet. To meet each other, you need to give the location and the time. That is what we call space and time. Actually, the concept is more advanced than that. But let's understand that way. Now, even for Einstein, this is not a significant time interval. That's just a moment. Okay? That is past, this is future, this is the present moment, what we are meeting right now. All right. Now, look at this, because I hope this will be easy to understand than the previous diagram. This is the rectangular shape, or this picture is what we call the 2D plane, your space. This vertical red line is what we call time frame, time dimension. Okay, you can see this person is moving forward. Why? You can see this timeline is moving forward, right? By the pictures. So you see different different frames and different time units. Okay. Now, what happens if you put this together? Now, where is this being recorded? Is this happening out there in the world beyond you? No. Okay. Every minute or every 13 seconds, milliseconds, I showed you that at the beginning. That's how much time your eye need to capture a picture, 30 milliseconds. Every 30 milliseconds, your eye capture a picture. In different pictures, this person is at different places, right? This is space and time. Now, don't think this happened out there. It happened, this record happened inside your mind, okay? And when it combines, your mind creates this moving flow. That's what we call the Pancha Upadana in Buddhism, the moving world. And what is this? Different time frames. That's what we call skandha level, aggregates and clinging aggregates. And why we see this moving world? Because of your clinging, right? You cling to each frame, your mind, and it created a moving person. That is relativity and more deeply Dhamma. Now, let me stop here and explain a little further because this is very important. This is the dependent origination. My friends, each of these frames is what we call contact, passa, the 2D frame. Sankaparago, Purisasakamo, Tittanti Chitrani, Chitra, 2D frames, what we call passa. Okay, now look at this line. That is the Einstein's timeline. Now, Buddhism doesn't explain anything about time. And what is this? What creates this? Remember, in Buddhism, the craving is called sibbani. Sibbani means thread. Okay, tanha sibbani. Sibbani means the thread. You can see it's just almost, there are certain spaces here. When it comes to the speed of this, you can even separate this. They are almost like glue to each other. Okay, so what is correct in this? Your craving. That's why it's called craving leads to, when craving arises, clinging arises, right? But Saupada. And what is this clinging? Upadana. Clinging is the glue which attach each of these. Who attached this? You think that's you? No, it's a process. Okay, the glue. Then when you glue everything, not you, my bad, there is no person here. Buddhism doesn't use the person. There is no, this is not active, this is passive, okay? Make no mistake. So clicking, glue it, tanha connects it, okay? What you have is upadana, bhava. That's what we call bhava. Okay, see how advanced Buddhism is. That's actually very high level of relativity, right? Okay, let's move on. Now, you know what, I'm going to let you read this later. So this is what Einstein said about past, present, and future. This is actually a real story. He wrote this to one of his very good friends, Vesak, who taught him the geometry, because Einstein was not very good at mathematics at the beginning. His friend, he's an engineer. He taught him mathematics, the geometry, to define his relativity. So when he died, he wrote to the widow. Look at this. People like us who believe physics know the distinction between past, present, and future. He's only a stubborn, persistent. He thought it's a persistent, though, illusion. All right. Now, where science get things wrong? Remember, I mentioned at the beginning, we are going to discuss different views, right? So far, we saw the convergences of science. What are the differences? Why Buddhism is 1,000 miles ahead of science? That's what we are going to focus now, because this is the end of my discussion. I know I talked a little couple minutes more. Okay, so people who understand advanced science. Again, my friends, we don't talk about general biology, physics, you name it. We don't talk about those. Okay, that is what we call old science, Newtonian science, classical mechanics. If you want to understand Buddhism, you don't see anything at that level. You need to get to relativity and quantum level. That's where the reality is. Okay, make no mistake. So now, people who understand advanced science also see everything as an illusion. We already saw, right? I proved you continuously that what we see is an illusion. It is established. Okay, so there's a convergence there. Now, the illusion, we call the word, but science community and others think this illusion exists out there independent of me. Yes, it is based on my observation, but it is a persistent objective reality out there. That's how they see it. Okay. Now, this view has a very significant flaw. I mean, this is the confusion and problem even relativity and quantum theory has. I mean, relativity works really well, extremely well. Remember, we are even controlling rovers in Mars these days. So one can say it doesn't work. And quantum theory works really well too. Now, actually, it's more and more people start using quantum theory. Recently, I learned that even biology people now relate quantum theory, quantum entanglement to bird migration and photosynthesis. Yes, being more applicable now once people understand what it is. So both are valid fields, but there is a conflict. They cannot connect it. What is the problem? Now, I showed you how quantum field works based on Buddhism. The problem is their mithya ditti or wrong view. Remember, anybody outside of who understand Dhamma, Buddhism, consider everything as mithya. It's permanent. And sukha, as well as the most important part is the last part, the idea of permanent soul. Because we always think, I see something, I am here. This idea of soul. That is where this confusion happens. Okay. Now, I don't think I have to explain, but I will explain this one any further because Bhikkhu Bodhi as well as our Bhante Ji explained it brilliantly. Anicca Dukkha Anatma. Okay, so I will leave that part to save my time. But this is important because science has the future, right? But is this the same as Buddha said? That is important to understand. My friends, no, it is not. Absolutely not. Buddhism is unimaginable, much ahead of modern science, any science. I don't think science will ever match it. That's my personal belief. Okay, look at this, just the highlighted part to save my time. Yadatitam pahinantam appatittancha anagatam. Let the past has already left. It's gone. Future has not come yet. Achuppanna is not present moment. Make no mistake. Achuppanna means dependently co-originated. Okay, let me explain this tiny bit. That is what we call Achuppanna, right there in red. Imas means sati idam hoti, imas uppada idam uppajjati. Imas means asati idam nahoti, imas niroda nirujjati. But Bhante Ji explained this brilliantly. I heard, I think Bhikkhu Bodhi did it so brilliantly too. I'm not going to explain this. This is where our focus should be. Remember that photon again, Nama Rupa level. Okay, it arises and ceases. That is the reality, including at the scientific science base. But the problem is we don't see it. Even science community doesn't see it. Why? Because of this issue. We think it is permanent. We see a pizza out there. As far as you are clinging into it, you will never ever see the reality. You see, that is where science gets things wrong. Other than that, you can see, my friend, this is what I want you to understand. Reality is reality, whether it is based on Buddhism or science, right? And science is probably the closest thing to the reality in mundane view. They try to understand it. If they are wrong, they will be the first to admit it too. They never hide. There are mistakes. We know that. Okay. So Achuppanna is this moment. How you do that? Mindfulness, and most importantly, our Bhante Ji mentioned it brilliantly, Yoniso Manasikara. That is where the Dhamma is. Yoniso Manasikara. Again, I don't know how to explain this in English, so I will not do that. Okay, so how do you not let what's called unborn whatever? Okay, for Bhante Ji. Explain later. Okay, so now we discussed time. I promise you, I'm going to stop this in 2 minutes now. Okay. Now, how ancient Buddhist view of space-time, Einstein's relativity. My friends, there is no space-time based on Buddhism. Why? Because there is no time. Now, we call something time, right? I bet most of you are looking at your time because I'm talking too much, probably. Okay. So what is this time? Time is completely a concept or concept in your mind. what we call sankhara. Okay, it is a mundane term based on your ignorance. Actually, everything is a sankhara. And how would they explain it? I already told you that's a pachupanna, what ceases and arises at present moment. Pachisampanna, dependently co-originated. Okay, now again, I will skip this part because our Bhantes explained this. I'm not capable of doing what they did, obviously. So Buddha's explanation is based on the Buddhist doctrines, noble truth, okay, three sides of existence, tilakkhana, okay, then empirical existence, as our Bhantes explained, 5 aggregates, 5 senses, okay, and dependent origination. That's it. Now, I'm going to finish this after this, okay? So, Buddha, now remember we started with Sabba Sutta, right? Sabba, all. Now, this is the last one, Loka Sutta. Buddha asked monks, I will teach you the origin of the world and ending of the world. Listen and pay close attention. And what is this world? The world, dependent on eyes and forms, there arises eye consciousness. In Pali, it says, Takkuncha paticca rupecha upaditi chakku viññānaṁ tinnāṁ sangati passo. Okay, dependent on eyes and forms arises eye consciousness, passa. And meeting 3 is contact. What is this contact? Based on science, that's a 2D frame. Okay, from contact as a requisite condition comes feeling, vedana. Okay, actually, this is where all the trouble happens from here. So, from feeling as a requisite condition comes craving. Remember craving, that thread, what we call time. Okay, putting everything together. And craving as a requisite condition comes clinging. Remember the glue connected our word, right? The different 2 different. And clinging as a requisite condition comes becoming, the bhava. I hope you remember the gentleman who was walking, right? Created by 2 different. That's what it is. And from becoming as a requisite condition comes birth. Now, this birth can be your actual birth or the birth of any senses as well. Because in the present moment, this birth is your eye, ear, or whatever 6 senses. Okay? Whenever birth arises, all this suffering follows. That's it. That's the end of it. You know what? I'm going to skip this. Okay? So let's stop here. I think what. If you want, I can describe this if somebody has a question. Other than that, that's it, everyone. Any questions or? If not, okay. So first of all, I thank you, Bhante Ji, and all our most venerable monks for the participation as well as for giving me this chance. And thank you everyone for listening to this talk, and may all living beings be happy, peaceful, and out of sorrow, and may all attain Nibbana. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Professor Chinta Kahitti Tantri. I think today, whole day is spent in focusing on the teachings of the Buddha and different views, different angles. And now we got a wonderful chance with Professor Chintaka. Thank you very much for your time and your Dhamma knowledge sharing with us. This is wonderful moment for everybody. Everybody means our participants who are coming from different places. Sometimes some people I saw they are participating from Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, and China, Sri Lanka, and also from UK. All over the world, people got a chance to listen to Dhamma, to celebrating the Buddha's birthday, Buddha's day. So now it is time to end up our program, Vesak program, sponsored by Bhavana Society. I would like to use this opportunity to share my merits with others. First of all, who are behind us supporting to perform these meritorious deeds. and they sacrificed their time and energy to have this wonderful session to come to benefits for everybody around the world. As you know, Bhavana residents and Bhavana office manager and all others who are supporting us to fulfill these responsibilities. Thank you very much for you all. And particularly today, we got a wonderful opportunity to listen to Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi. This is a kind of very important opportunity that we had today in our program. We would like to share merits with the Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi. By the power of all these merits and metta thoughts, may he be well, happy, and peaceful. All his wishes come true by the power of these merits and metta thoughts. Having that aspiration, let us share metta with the Bhikkhu Bodhi, saying sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Also, Professor Chintaka and all participants and supporters who are behind me and helping us in different ways to be success this program. Your success, your energy, your kind supports is the most important to be success this program. So I would like to share merits with you all. By the power of these merits and metta thoughts, may you all be well, happy, and peaceful. You all can join with me, make wishes, particularly these days. We all are facing some kind of difficulties around the world. Thinking of all these difficulties and making all our wishes, let us share merits with me. You all can join with me. By the blessings that have arisen from my practice, may my venerable preceptors and teachers who helped me, mother, father, and relatives, male and female rulers, worldly powers, virtuous human beings, the higher beings, demons, and high gods, the guardian deities of the world, celestial beings, the Lord of death-friendly people, indifferent and hostile, may all beings be well. May the skillful deeds done by me bring you threefold bliss. May this quickly bring you to the deathless. By means of these meritorious deeds and through this aspiration, may I quickly attain cutting off craving and clinging. Whatever faults I have until I am liberated, may they quickly perish. Wherever I am born, may there be an upright mind, mindfulness and wisdom, austerity and vigor. May no harmful influences weaken my efforts. The Buddha is the unsurpassed protector. Dhamma is the supreme protection. Fearless is the silent Buddha. The Sangha is my true refuge. By the power of these exalted ones, may I rise above all defilements. By means of these meritorious deeds, may I never join with the police. May I join always with the wise until the time attain Nibbana. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. So too may all beings be. From the highest realms of existence to the lowest, may all beings arisen in these realms, with form and without form, with perception and without perception, be released from all suffering and attain to perfect peace. Excellent, excellent.